Hello everybody, my name is KingStix and today we're going to be going over the biggest changes in patch 7.24b, everything you need to know. Aatrox doesn't currently have a good keystone to take, so they're giving him some base stat updates and some slight damage tweaks with his Q and E. Jace is getting some slight nerfs because he's been a little bit too bullying with melee top laners. Kane's passive is getting a fairly large buff in the early and mid game, however it's going to be just as strong as it was in the late game. He is also getting a slight attack damage growth buff, which is going to help him out a little bit. Kled is getting some considerable damage on his E jousting. Overall, I don't think this will make Kled much better. I think he'll just be just as good as he has been. Along with these melee top laners, Renekton is going to be getting a slight base attack damage buff as well, and attack damage growth. Overall, I feel like Renekton's really strong right now since he is fairly mobile, since he can dash through minions. He's already really abusive to most melee top laners. Funny enough, Teemo is getting a nerf. His health growth is getting slashed by a little bit, and so is his base attack damage. Considering they just buffed all of these melee champions, I think this is kind of stupid since Teemo's a shitty champion anyway, so I'll definitely stay away from Teemo for the time being. Yasuo is getting a huge magic resist growth buff. This is huge, 0.5 to 1.25, that's more than double. Plus, he's getting loads of damage added onto his Q and some cast range added onto his ultimate. Yasuo is honestly still pretty strong in my opinion, especially in lower elos because there's so many Yasuo smurfs. Overall, just expect to see some more Yasuo bans. T-Mat is getting a slight buff. This will be nice for jungle Warwick and a few top laners who rush T-Mat. There's not that many. Titanic Hydra is also getting a buff, which is also going to be nice for jungle Warwick and tanky top laners. And Ravenous Hydra is the exact same. Ravenous Hydra kind of sucks in my opinion. It's either Titanic Hydra or nothing. This is going to be a fairly big nerf to AD carries for shredding tanks and bruisers. Now the health difference for max damage went from 1000 to 2000. Now if you're an AD carry attacking a bruiser, you're going to be missing out on a lot of extra damage. Or if you're an AD carry attacking a tank who isn't that tanky yet, you're going to be missing out on a lot of damage as well. It's overall not going to make a huge difference for AD carries killing huge tanks in the late game, but in the early and mid game, this actually means something. Lethality items at the beginning of this preseason got a +2 buff, so now they're reversing it because they realized it was stupid and they never should have done it. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that they made a mistake there. Lower elo might not understand this, but Azir's been a little bit too strong in higher elos, so his Arise damage is getting cut down in the mid and late game to pull off a little bit of his shredding power. Cassiopeia has been struggling quite a bit with these long range mages and hyper burst AD mid laners like Zed and Yasuo, so they're going to be cutting the mana cost on her Q and also upping the ability power ratio on her E. It's hard to say if this will really make a big difference. Overall, you'll probably see her more in higher elo, and lower elo though, she's very difficult to play, and this probably won't be enough to put her back in. Corki's getting base damage nerfs, and he's also getting a nerf on his Q, a little unnecessary in my opinion. Katarina is a disgusting smurfing monster. They're peeling off a fair amount of damage off of her E. They're cutting the base damage in half at level 1, which is really insane. Overall, this is going to hit Katarina fairly hard since she is very dependent on her E and the base damage to get off good poke and good kill damage on enemy champions. You're probably going to be seeing a lot less of her, especially in higher elo. Zoe's a little bitch champ that's way too OP, so they're making the timing on her QQR combo less forgiving. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to land. You're still going to be seeing her in higher elo, and lower elo, this will make you see a little bit less of her. Ezreal's way too OP with Kleptomancy, so they're cutting his attack speed growth by quite a bit, nearly in half. Leona has way too much burst, and they already nerfed her W in the previous patch, and now they're like, let's go ahead and nerf her Q as well. They're cutting the bonus damage from 30 at level 1 to 10. Honestly, this will probably make Leona pretty gosh darn useless in the early and mid game. She doesn't miss out on that much damage in the late game, but one of the best parts about Leona is the fact that she can really kill squishies and burst them down in the early and mid game in lane. This will really take away from that power. Misfortune had way too much burst, so now they're putting the cooldown up from 14 to 18 seconds. It's still going to be the same at later ranks, but overall, so things like support Misfortune aren't going to hit nearly as hard in the early game. Rammus is getting a huge nerf. So pretty much all the tank junglers got a plus 15% attack bonus since they took away normal runes. But now they're taking that away from Rammus, but not away from any other champion. Rammus has been OP, not because of necessarily his base stats, but because of his kit. He's very quick, and he could get through his jungle on the first clear without losing too much HP. However, in higher elo, good junglers know that he is weak in his first clear, and he's usually at half health or a little bit less, and you can bully him and take his buffs or kill him. In lower elo, I think he still will be playable, but overall, I think this will really kill him in higher elo. So basically like Diamond 3 and up, I think this will hurt him very, very bad, and it will leave room for tank junglers like Sejuani and Zac to come into the picture. or for just early game junglers to dominate. Sorcery as a secondary tree got quite a bit weaker. They're pulling attack damage and AP off of it. Mana Ban is getting nerfed because there's just way too much mana sustain in lane for poke champions, and Scorch is getting a nerf as well. This is needed because the sorcery tree was pretty much the best secondary tree for most champions and builds. And that is going to wrap up this patch notes. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.